Hello guys and welcome back to Birmingham Fan TV. This is your Rotherham match review. Very delayed, I apologise about that. Before we do get into the video, can you drop a like on this one guys and smash that like button. Blues are safe. It's been a long season and it's been one of ups and downs, but you know, ultimately we are there and we've done it and we've games to spare. Makes a change, doesn't it? And drop a comment as well, your thoughts over the season. The game itself was an interesting game, to say the least, and ultimately, you know, one in which we prevailed. And you know, kudos to the guys, the players, the staff, everybody at the club, connected with the club. We've done it. And before anybody makes the comment about my face, yes, I look like a drumstick. I went out on, I can't even remember when it was, Sunday, and decided to sit in the same place in the sun for 3 hours with the sun being there, and yeah, you can see it, but you know, it is what it is. So prayer for me, 1 like equals 1 prayer. But yeah, and don't forget on Saturday to head over to Bawdsley Labour Club guys. We will be there on Saturday as ever. Last home game of the season, let's make it a good one. And hopefully we'll see you guys there for a chat and a catch up. I know many of you have done already this season. It's been great to meet a lot of you, and we'll hope to see you there. And just before we do get into the after-match review, just leave your team for the Wigan game on Saturday, guys. It'd be interesting to see what you guys would pick now that the season's over and we don't really have to worry about team selection. And I'll shout a few of them out in the match preview and see what you guys think of each other's team selection. But let's get into it. I think that overall the first half we were nothing short of woeful. It really was a poor first half in which we really couldn't get a grip of the game. I mean, we knew going into this that Rotherham, it wasn't going to be an easy game. They're scrapping for their lives, and ultimately have a lot of respect for Paul Warner there and the players, because they came out and they gave everything. In first half, they were really impressive. They were first to everything. Their game plan was really well drilled out. I thought they played some lovely switches, some great diagonal balls that really seemed to cut through our midfield very easily, and they got in behind the fullbacks, especially Pedersen. And if I was to take one negative from the game, it's that Pedersen really wasn't on it. Not for the first time. But this is not going to be a negative video. You know, I think that Pedersen can do a lot better at the minute. I think his biggest problem is that he's caught flat-footed. I think that he's not on his toes, and people have noticed that, and they're now beginning to get in behind him, hence where the first goal come from. Down that right-hand side, well, our left-hand side, their right-hand side, they dinked a little ball in behind, and obviously we don't deal with it then once it's drilled into the box and it's stabbed home. And you know, it was nothing more than Rotherham deserved, if I'm honest. It was a difficult first half. I think the biggest problem for Blues is they were losing second balls. The direct game works if Jukovic has people around him to feed off him, get the knockdowns, get the feed downs, and we didn't do it. We simply just didn't do it. Adams and Jukovic were split too far apart. The midfield was sort of 10 yards too deep, and every time that Jukovic would win something, it would fall to no one, and then if they won it, they were on a second ball to come back at us. And it was wave after wave. We had a few good sort of half chances. The best chance for Blues in the first half was that Adams snapshot from the quick free kick, which we played to the edge of the box. I thought it was a really well worked free kick, and it's evident that we worked so hard on set pieces. Obviously, following on from the Derby game where we scored from 2 of them, and then we played some really good balls in. Again on Saturday. Obviously we went in behind 1-0 at half time, really backs against the wall, and I really feared for the second half, and I turned to my dad and said, he said that there's going to be no fairy tale ending here, we just don't look up for it. And he was kind of right. It's difficult because we do look up for it at times, and I don't think that we ever can knock the lack of commitment with Blues. And this season we've never looked like we just can't be bothered, but it's just a case of the tactical now sometimes isn't there. Sometimes the system doesn't quite isn't as effective against certain teams that play certain ways. I find that we seem to struggle against teams that play a holding midfielder. We seem to struggle against teams that play their wingers really high up, and hence what Rotherham did. Now obviously the game was turned on its head with the tactical change at half time. Didn't need to change the personnel. And we switched the system. Obviously, Monk's been listening to the podcast, me and Mark rambling on about his game management, but this was game management. This is exactly what Monk hasn't been doing recently, and it's noticing when something's not working and changing it and trying to counter what Rotherham were doing. He did exactly that. I think the player that goes most unnoticed for this is David Davis. I think that him at the pivot, at the base of that diamond, obviously most people are going to credit Hotter, rightly so, but David Davis at that base was winning second balls. He was picking up everything that Rotherham would throw back, that our defenders would clear, and that was evident for, I think it was the first goal, in which he's won the header. He's beat somebody in the air. The big lad, I think it was Crook, who scored there first. He beat him in the air, knocked it down, gave it to Hotter, who's given it to Magoma, and we've scored. And then for the second goal, Davis has picked up on another second ball, played that. A kind of a hopeful ball up the line, but it was a really good ball in the end, which Adams obviously got on the end of and squared it for Hotter. Davis didn't get enough credit in the second half, and I know that David Davis doesn't always possess the technical ability, the passing side of it. He frustrates me just as much as everybody else, but yesterday in the second half, he was immense. He was fantastic. And obviously the first goal was fantastic as well. It was so well worked. Obviously Davis wins the ball back. Hotter plays that lovely little ball, and Magoma's picked up a nice little pocket in between the defence and the midfield, and no one seemed to want to tackle him. Alright, if you tackle him, he's probably going to go down, we're going to win a free kick. And he's pinged a lovely shot back across goal, and that's what we don't do enough, Blues. We don't shoot enough. We don't take our chances from outside the box. Only Adams you really ever see hit the ball from outside the box. So yeah, it was lovely to see. Just having a pop at goal, just having a go. And obviously, again, with the tactical change, we saw that not only did Magoma's game go from sort of a 3 or a 4 to an 8 and a 9, Hotter as well, so heavily underappreciated. I was looking at some statistics. So Hotter, just a massively underappreciated player, and I think that obviously his price tag, as we discussed in the podcast previously, obviously bears a burden at times, and yes, I do agree, can be frustrating, but people need to kind of realise that. I know that we mock Villa for their nonsense about Grealish and what he, but obviously they always say that it's what he does to create chances and to even sort of start attacks or open space up, and I think Hotter does it not just as well, but he does that role excellently. He's now gone to 5th in the assist total for the season. He's got 11 assists this season. Obviously, I think it's only the 3 or 4 goals. He hasn't scored enough, granted, but he's got 11 assists and 4 goals from 31 appearances this season. It's pretty good returns. Yes, it could be better, but obviously we will discuss in the podcast at a later date whether Hotter sort of suits that number 10 role, or whether he's suited out wide. It's up for debate. Obviously, I think he's done well out wide, but when he does work in that number 10, he doesn't always. Outstanding. Massively, he creates 1.9 chances per game, 1.9 crosses, I believe, per game. There's some of the highest. If you go on Who Scored and check out his statistics, just outstanding. Some of them, he's usually within the top 10 or 15 in the league, and it's kind of hard to argue then when you look at the stats that Hotter does contribute. He does. Yes, he does need to chip in with a few more goals. I think he needs to work on his finishing in the pre-season. But ultimately, if we can find a system that suits Hotter, I think that he could be a key asset next season. But obviously then, we've picked up on the second goal. What an assist from Shea Adams. That dig down the line from Davis, that ball around the outside. And Hotter, and Adams just managing to sort of turn his man ever so quickly. I couldn't tell whether the defender was slow or Adams just had this ridiculous burst of pace. Obviously, he's quick anyway. And I think what's just as impressive is the pullback as well, the accuracy to get it through 2 defenders. And Hotter's composure as well is excellent. It was such a well-worked goal. Such a great counter-attacking goal as well. It's going to be a shame when Adams, or if, but in the likelihood when he goes, that we will lose that, so we do need to replace that. And it's great to see Rabti get on the score sheet as well with the 3rd goal. I think that he came on, he had some great neat touches. second half, as did Vassell. Looked bright, both looked sharp, and Amrabat again, he's going to be another player that once he's got that pre-season under his belt, I think he's going to fly next season. And he's going to be another key asset for the team. But yeah, it's just great to see the wingers and the midfielders contributing. You know, it's like we've said before, they don't contribute enough. They haven't been contributing enough this season. Whether that's the system, granted it could be, but it's great to see them getting on the score sheet and, you know, not having to rely on the forward two. A goal and assist for Hotter, a goal and an assist for Magoma, and a goal from Rabti, I think was the perfect away result. It was the perfect away performance in the second half, and obviously it means that Blues are safe now. They've hit that 50-point mark for the second time this season. We're now mathematically safe, and we could go on and finish on 56 points, I think is our highest since the 15-16 season, guys. But massive achievement, and it's a summer to look forward to, I think, with Blues ahead, obviously depending on finances given. But we do know that we're in capable hands under Gary Monk, guys. But let me know your comments down below. Who was your man of the match yesterday? I do have to give it to David Davis yesterday. It's a tough one. Hotter had a great game. Magoma had a great game. But you do have to see, obviously, what Davis was doing there. He allowed the forward five in Magoma, Gardner, Hotter, Adams and Jukovic to go and do their thing. And his marshalling of the back four went massively unheard of yesterday. So I'll give it to David Davis, guys, but let me know your man of the match yesterday, guys. But thank you so much for watching. I do apologise that this is a little bit later than usual. I thought we'd just have a little bit more of an in-depth chat about it, and I want to hear your thoughts, guys, so don't forget to leave the comments down below, guys. But until the podcast, which should be out on Thursday, and the pre-match on Friday, and then obviously look out for us on the after-match review on Saturday, guys. But thank you so much for watching. Let's go and enjoy the end of the season now without any worries, and we'll see you soon. Keep right on.